One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
What's up, everybody, on a Sunday afternoon, getting back from the 4th of July weekend, which was supposed to be a very slow and relaxing time in the news business, but it's been anything but slow. In fact, it's just been a fevered pitch all weekend long. And tomorrow, I'm telling you right now, go to the grocery store, go wherever you need to do, get your popcorn ready for tomorrow. I have this feeling, I have a stinking feeling that tomorrow the poop's going to hit the fan. I just think, get buckled in, get your popcorn, and understand that tomorrow is probably going to be seismic. It's going to be explosive. I may have to go live for hours tomorrow during the day and at night. It's going to be crazy. I know it's going to be crazy. So some of you know I had a cold, and for the most part, I am recovered. I just took a lozenge. It's just sticking in my throat, and I think being in the pool doesn't really help it. But I'm going to get through it. We're going to muscle through it. I've got lozenges. I've got some hot tea I'm drinking on. We're going to be fine. All weekend I was fine. I went to go play poker last night, won. And then went to church, fine, singing my butt off. And now, just before I do the show, it's like a different vocal cord shows up, and I'm like, why is this, feels itchy? But anyway, we're here. All right. I got a lot to go over. I mean, a whole lot to go over. I mean, just a ton of stuff. So I'm not going to waste a whole lot of time. Those of you who've seen it know there was a interview on Friday night with George Stephanopoulos, that's I think how you pronounce his name, and Mr. Dementia Joe Biden. This was supposed to be the coming out party after the horrible debate that was going to fix things. But, it didn't do that. It did anything but that. So what we're going to do tonight is I'm going to deconstruct that interview. We're going to go through piece by piece some of the salient points that were made, and we're going to talk about those points. And I'm going to tell you basically what happened after the interview. Then I'm going to tell you what happened today, and then I'm going to tell you what probably is going to happen tomorrow. So there's a lot for you guys to digest. You may have to watch this twice. May have to tell your friends to watch it as well. I was just checking to make sure my fan was on because, oh my God, we got a lot to go over. So without further ado, thank you for being here. Do me a favor.
Come on, show some love and click that like button.
And let's get to it. All right, cut one. I'm not going to name the cuts because there's too many to name, but let's just call this one cut one. Ready? Let's go for it. Let's listen in.
Did you ever watch the debate afterwards?
I don't think I did, no.
Well, what I want to get at is what were you experiencing as you were going through the debate? Did you know how badly it was going?
Yeah, look.
Wait a second. Got to stop there. That is a pretty much binary question. It's a binary question. Did you watch the debate afterwards? Now, I hate to stop this right then and there, but the dude's answer was, I don't know. I don't know if I just watched the presidential debate and went over it again. Any athlete will tell you, you watch your game films, you see what you've done. At least you would know if you watched your game films. Hey, coach comes in, hey, Barry, did you watch the game film? Yes, sir. Did it. Watched it. Thank you. We're going to go over that this afternoon in practice. Great. Got you. Ready. Hey, Joe, did you watch the debate? I don't know. Let me just tell you something. I'm going to take you back maybe 1997-ish. There was this pop singer. Handsome young man. I mean, heartthrob, handsome young man. The ladies were going crazy over him. And we're talking teens to older women. Ricky Martin with La Vida, living La Vida Loca. You remember Ricky Martin? Ricky Martin, dude was handsome. Even as a guy, I could say dude was handsome. And then one day, there was some rumors flying around, and a host asked him a question. Ricky, there's been some rumors that you might be swinging the other way. Is that true? Well, and Ricky's answer basically killed his career for a short time. His answer was, I don't really think that's important. Okay, now we know. Now we know you couldn't answer that question, so you just crushed the heart of millions of female fans because you couldn't tell anyone which team you played on. It was game over, basically, at that point in his mainstream career. He's done some things afterwards in his Spanish language music where people have, like, different era now, so they pretty much have gotten over it. But initially, Ricky Martin went from here, superstar, to boom, done, absolutely done back then. Joe Biden just did the same thing. Joe Biden was just asked, hey man, did you watch the debate? I mean, the debate that you were in? I don't really know. How do you not know, as the president, if you did or did not watch the debate? When I saw that question come up, I was like, game over. That's it. Done. Don't need to watch the rest of this. It's over. That, I believe, was like the first question in the debate. In the interview. And the first question was a complete softball layup. And that softball layup was, did you watch the debate? It's a simple yes or no. Yeah, I watched it with staff. Okay, no, I was really busy. I'm the president, right? So I had a lot of stuff to do. I didn't get a chance to watch it over again. I was in it. I didn't have to watch it. But no, our president said, I don't know if I did or not. Game, set, match, it's over. Right then and there. So let's continue with Mr. Biden here, as he will be known very shortly.
The whole way I prepared, nobody's fault, mine. Nobody's fault but mine. I prepared what I usually would do, sitting down, as I did come back with foreign leaders or the National Security Council, for explicit detail. And I realized about partway through that, I get quoted, the New York Times had me down at 10 points before the debate, 9 now or whatever the hell it is. The fact of the matter is that what I looked at is that he also lied 28 times.
You realize that wasn't the question, Mr. Biden. Mr. Biden, I was asking you, we're going to talk about your mental fitness. This isn't a campaign stop. I'm sure you're going to have some campaign stops over the next couple days. Hey, I'm George Stephanopoulos from ABC. We're trying to find out how your noggin works. And right off the bat, you said you didn't watch or didn't remember watching the debate. And now you're talking about Trump and saying Trump lied. You followed up a lie by saying somebody else lies.
I mean, the way the debate ran, not my fault, no one else's fault. No one else's fault.
But it seemed like you were having trouble from the first question in.
And George is like, I'm not having this stuff. Thank you for your campaign speech. Let's get back to your noggin. Seems like you were having trouble right off the bat. I give credit where credit is due. George Stephanopoulos ran this interview surgically. He didn't want to talk about campaign stuff. He didn't want to talk about anything Trump. I'm talking about your mental acuity. That's what we have at stake here.
Even before he spoke.
Well, I just had a bad night.
Well, that is true.
I just had a bad night. That's all it was. Bad night. And he repeated that, as you know, those of you who have watched it, it became the slogan for this interview and for news people afterwards. So here in cut two.
True, but 2020 was a close race. And your approval rating has dropped significantly since then. I think the last poll I saw.
So his approval rating hasn't dropped significantly. It's cratered. It's absolutely cratered since the debate. And now it continues to crater after this interview. So they're asking him, hey, man, we got to talk about your approval rating.
So it was about 36%. The number of Americans who think you're too old to serve has doubled since 2020. Wouldn't a clear-eyed political calculus tell you that it's going to be much tougher to win in 2024?
Not when you're running against a pathological liar.
Dude, I'm talking about your ability to win based upon your noggin status. And you're saying that Trump is a pathological liar. Obviously, he didn't probably rewatch the interview or the debate, because if he had, he would see that they fact-checked the hell out of him and showed him to be a liar. I mean, what is it with this team? This entire Biden administration is just completely haywire.
Not when he hadn't been challenged in a way that he's about to be challenged.
Now that was interesting. That, to me, was a bit concerning. What rabbit are they going to try and pull out of their hat now? This guy has been president for 3.5 years. They have dragged Trump through the mud since the day he came down the escalator. We all know the various hoaxes. They continue to this day, especially by that guy. And then he goes, not what is he's about to face. What do you got planned now? What kind of crap are you going to try and throw at him now? How are you going to cheat now? Yeah, he hasn't really seen what we're about to do to him. Did you guys notice today what happened in France? Marine Le Pen was on the precipice of winning in France. She wiped out the other two parties and was going to take France back and be conservative, and told everybody she was getting rid of certain people. And today, somehow, she got landslided. She came in third out of 3 people. They cheated in France. They cheated in London. They know what they want to do, and unless people stand up, they're gonna do it here. That was the title of my video. There's only one way this idiot can beat Donald Trump. One way. And he just said, well, we got something planned. Oh boy. What the heck did you mean by that?
Not when people...
You've had months to challenge him.
Yeah, you've had months. Now you're going to do something.
Well, sure I had months, but I was also doing a hell of a lot of other things, like wars around the world, like keeping NATO together.
He was keeping NATO together, guys.
Do you really believe you're not behind right now?
All right, so now George is going to get into the polls and understanding. Listen, everybody can see the polls. Polls are what they are. Polls are what they're worth. I don't really care about polls, but you're getting spanked in the polls. Are you aware of this, Joe? Do you actually watch those? Do you read that information?
I think all the pollsters I talk to tell me it's a toss-up.
All the pollsters that he talks to tell him it's a toss-up. I want to know who you're talking to. Stephanopoulos didn't ask him that, but we all know, at this point, we all know the internal data on the Democrat side. We know what they've been saying. They've been saying that he's behind so bad that they want to basically get rid of him. Just to let you know, I'm going to go through these pieces, but there's a reason. There's one reason in my mind that they now need to get rid of Dementia Joe. It's not his age. It's not dementia. It's not Parkinson's. It's because too much has been found out. That's my opinion. I believe at this point, too much information is beginning to come out that they realize that this man is an extreme liability. They are on the precipice of the Democrat Party being voted into oblivion, being voted out of existence because of everything that's now coming out. And on that same precipice is this media, who all of a sudden are surprised. Oh my God, this guy might have something wrong with his noggin. Oh my God, it just happened last Thursday. Last Thursday at the debate, oh, we didn't know this. Oh, I don't know what we're going to do. You ask the American people to buy this? You're asking the American people to understand that you didn't see any of the things that we saw and what we heard? Come on, you got to be kidding. You absolutely have to be kidding.
It's a toss-up. And when I'm behind, there's only one poll I'm really far behind. CBS poll and NBC, and
New York Times and NBC both have you about 6 points behind in the popular vote.
That's exactly right.
Didn't a second ago he just said all the polls have him running neck and neck? And now he just said, oh, that's exactly right. Which is it, Joe? Are you neck and neck or are you 6 to 10% behind? You just got caught by George Stephanopoulos, and I'm sure none of the people in the media are going to point out what you just did. Oh, everybody tells me we're neck and neck. Well, the other one's got you at 6 points down. The other one's got you at 10. Oh, that's exactly right. I know it's exactly right. I'm the one who told you if I'm George Stephanopoulos.
New York Times had me behind before anything having to do with this race. Had me behind 10 points.
So if you know that the New York Times had you behind by 10 points even before the debate, how can you say that every pollster you talk to has you neck and neck? You say, I read this stuff. I watch this stuff. I wait for moments and go, whoa. You would hate watching TV with me because, I got to pause. I got to write that down. Oh, I got to take a note. Got to do my homework. What in the hell are you talking about? The statement you said right before contradicts what you just said right now. I had fancied myself going to law school, and I remember talking to people, and it's listen to everything somebody says. When you hear a critical point, write it down, and wait to see if they screw it up. George Stephanopoulos, like I said, you got to give him credit. I don't know if the guy went to law school, but he treated Joe Biden as an adversarial witness without Joe Biden knowing that he was treating him that way. He asked him the same question 2 or 3 different ways. Some of these videos are going to seem redundant, but he asked him a different question to get the same answer. It was amazing how surgical he was.
10 points had me behind. Nothing's changed substantially in the New York Times poll.
It's been a two-man race for several months. Inflation has come down. In those last few months, he's become a convicted felon, yet you're still falling further behind.
You guys keep saying that. George, you know polling better than anybody. Do you think polling data is accurate as it used to be?
That's huge. Now he's saying, I don't believe the polling data, which is okay because many people don't believe polling data. We don't know who these people are talking to, and it may be somewhat volatile, but we're all looking at the same thing. Even your internal pollsters. So I'm not sure what he's getting at here, but he's basically saying, I don't believe the polls.
I don't think so, but I think when you look at all of the polling data right now, it shows that he's certainly ahead in the popular vote, probably even more ahead in the battleground states. And one of the other key factors there.
All right, did you catch that right there? Do I have to rewind that? Can I rewind that like 2 or 3 seconds? After this happened, and Laura, I can't even say her name on here, and she reported that there was a medical emergency on the Air Force One after this. And of course she got flamed for reporting it because nobody else reported it. They got the press off the area of Air Force One. Supposedly nobody has confirmed it. If you know anybody who has AFib or tachycardia and you're around someone who has that, there are signs that you may want to look at. And all of a sudden, not sure, I'm going to show it to you again. I want you to look at what happens to Joe Biden during this question. I'm using a lot of oxygen. I'm talking. He's sitting there in a very relaxed situation. And while George is asking him a question, Biden has to take a really deep breath. Almost like he's trying to calm his heart. Let me see if I can get to that segment once again. I'm going to go back about, let me see, I'm going to go back. All right. Watch this again. I'm not going to stop it. I'm going to put it on a big area here so you can see it. It's in about 7 seconds. When they cut back to him, watch him take a deep breath.
It shows that he's certainly ahead in the popular vote, probably even more ahead in the battleground states. And one of the other key factors there is it shows that in many of the battlegrounds.
Did you see that? It didn't happen anywhere else during the interview, but right there, a very relaxed man sitting in a chair had to catch his breath. If you have AFib or tachycardia and you know the symptoms, you know what your body is doing, and you know what you need to do and try to slow that heart rate down. He just took a deep breath that had nothing to do with the question. Did he really have an incident on Air Force One? I don't know. But nobody is talking about that Shazuric pause, that where he just had to take a deep breath. Might be nothing, but again, when you watch this stuff, knowing what's been swirling around, it makes some sense. I see person here says Joe has breathing problems. Yeah.
States, the Democrats who are running for Senate and the House are doing better than you are.
Well, that's not unusual in some states. I carried an awful lot of Democrats last time I ran in 2020. Look, I remember them telling me the same thing in 2020. I can't win. The polls show I can't win. Remember 2024?
You couldn't win. That's just it. Thank you for saying that. The polls were right. But the polls didn't factor in what was going to happen at 2 o'clock in the morning in 3 or 4 states simultaneously. Which I can't say the word here, but you know what I mean.
2020, the red wave was coming.
Oh, it came.
Before the vote, I said that's not going to happen. We're going to win. We did better in all 3 than almost any incumbent president ever has done.
Think about that. This guy did better than any other incumbent president in history. I mean, that's what he's saying, except he wasn't an incumbent at the time. See, he missed that. At that point, Trump was the incumbent. So you got more votes than anybody in history, 81 million votes, to beat a incumbent president who even amplified his voting record in terms of how many votes he had. But at the same time, you were down in the polls, and then all of a sudden, we all went to bed at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. This was in the bag. And then we woke up and went, what? What just happened? Yeah, he just said that. So now we're going to go to the next clip, and then I'm going to take some little bit because this one's just fun. This one's just hilarious. It's so funny.
Their concerns about your age and your health are growing, so that's why I'm asking to reassure them.
Notice he keeps coming right back to health. He's not, I don't want to deal with campaign crap.
Would you be willing to have the independent medical evaluation?
Watch me there's a lot of time.
It's a yes or no question, bro. You want to make all this stuff go away? You want to make this just seem like it was a bad dream, a bad night? Take the test. That's simple. That's all you would have to do is take the test. Obviously an independent third-party test, but I think everybody at that... We're a week after the debate. People are still having these freaking questions. It would be very simple for you to make everybody look stupid. Man, just call your doctors in. Let's do this. Come on, bring them in. What do you want me to do? A, B, C, cat, dog, roast. I mean, what do you want me to do? I'll do it. Why would you dodge that? Why would it be beneath you? We're talking about your candidacy for the highest elected office, arguably in the world. In the world. If you really, really want to win, if you really, really want to stay president, why wouldn't you do that? You've got the wolves circling you on both sides, your own people as well as Republicans. Everybody is circling in. You could make every one of these people basically go flat. Just wipe them all out with an hour-long acuity, brain mental acuity test. All you would have to do is do that. I don't care if you get a C. I don't care what you do if you can just get over that bar. Okay, you've proved it. You've proven it. You've proven two things. One, you've proven you're not a coward. Two, you've proven that you actually have it. So why wouldn't you do that if you understand the stakes are, Joe, we're about to send you home. We're about to have to go to Kamala because we don't think you got it. That's how bad the stakes are at this point. If I knew, I remember an investor I used to talk to, and he used to call it the rule of 10,000. If you feel like you don't want to go to a meeting, if you feel like there's some task that you don't want to do, he used to say, imagine in your mind that once you went to that meeting, once you did that task, someone was going to hand you a check for $10,000. At this point, that's not a lot of money for some people. But if you knew, once I do this, I get $10,000. You'd do it. You'd go to that meeting. You'd do whatever you needed to do to pick up that $10,000 check. I've flown to meet somebody to get a $10,000 check. I've done it. You're about to be the president of the free world, United States of America, and everything that comes with it. And you're telling the world you wouldn't submit yourself for an hour-long test just to find out how your noggin's doing? Think about that.
I'm left in this campaign. It's over 125 days.
So the answer,
decision.
the right answer right now is no. You don't want to do that.
And I love how George came right back at him. So the answer is no. You're not going to do it. And then Joe comes up with some gibberish. Oh, I've already done it.
Would you be willing to undergo an independent
So this isn't the same video. This is him coming back with that question again.
medical evaluation that included neurological and cognitive tests and release the results to the American people?
Look,
Dude, no, I don't need to look. I just asked you a question. Can you not answer the question? Did your staff tell you, don't answer that, obviously? Did Jill say, don't answer that? Did Hunter advise you, don't answer that? If they did, they're not advising you correctly. You should fire them real quick. I know you can't really fire your wife, but you can get Hunter the crackhead out of here. Why would you not do that? So let's continue.
I have a cognitive test every single day.
And you're failing it every single day. Today you babbled at a church. You didn't know when the pastor said, there's a video floating around. It's incredible. The pastor goes, oh, can everybody stand now? Which everybody who goes to church understands there are certain times in a service or a mass where you got to stand up. If you go to Catholicism, like Joe does, there's certain things where you have to actually kneel during mass. It's no surprise. They're actually pre-scripted, Joe. I know during the offertory we're going to sing a song, we're going to stand up. I know when he's giving a sermon, we're going to sit down. I know when he makes the invitation, we're going to stand up. There's no secret. And then you've told everybody that, I grew up in the black church. I understand what goes on in the black church. The black minister said, "Hey, can everybody stand up now?" And Joe's, am I supposed to stand? Yes, that's what he just said. Stand your butt up. He was completely lost. And I know a lot of y'all went to church today, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can almost set your watch by it. We know when we're going in, we're singing 3 or 4 worship songs, and we're standing, and we're standing, and we're standing. And then you're going to greet people in the audience, right? Hey, how you doing today? Hey, everything. And then you're going to sit. We already know the drill. Those of us who go to church know the drill, the routine, the ritual. We already know what's going to happen. The only thing new is what is the pastor or the minister going to give you as a sermon today. Everything else, we already know it's coming. We know from the worshiping of the songs, we know to the greeting, we know to the call to give, we know it all. How did this guy who supposedly grew up in a black church not know to stand up when, especially when the pastor said, "Please stand"? I'm sorry, just a little church rant. It's Sunday. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Every day I have that test. Everything I do. You know, not only am I campaigning, but I'm running the world. And that's not how...
He's running the world. Just so you little people don't realize, it's not just America. I'm running the world. I control the world. His words, not mine.
Sounds like hyperbole. But we are...
You know, it sounds more like a lie. It doesn't sound like hyperbole. You do not run the world.
We are the essential nation in the world. Madeleine Albright was right. And every single day, for example, today, before I come out here, I'm on the phone with the Prime Minister of... Well, anyway, I shouldn't get into detail, but...
That's because you don't remember who it was. I was on the phone with the Prime Minister. I shouldn't tell you right now. It's not something I should go into.
What's your plan to turn the campaign around?
All right, you're gonna love this one. If you guys saw the interview, you're gonna love this one.
You saw it today. How many people do you draw crowds like I drew today?
Okay, let me translate the mumbling. He saw it today, talking about his rally. How many people can draw a crowd like I can? You are Mr. Obtuse. They must keep you locked up in a room someplace. And then George Stephanopoulos comes in with the backhand off the top rope.
You find me any more enthusiastic than today? Huh?
I mean, I don't think you want to play the crowd game. Donald Trump can draw big crowds. There's no question about that.
How you gonna draw?
I don't think you want to do the crowd game, bro. Donald Trump can bring big crowds. And he even had to smirk. He couldn't contain himself. George Stephanopoulos was like, "This guy's a blithering idiot." "Hey, you know anybody who can draw a crowd like I can?" "You mean 100 people?" "Yeah, I know a lot of people that can draw 100 people." And you see the guy you're running against? He's probably going to have 20 or 30,000 on Tuesday. He had 100,000 in the Bronx. Or Brooklyn, rather. What in the hell is this guy smoking? I mean, seriously, he actually said those words. "You know anybody who can draw a crowd like me? I'm really important." Wow. All right, let's go ahead and take some comments before I continue with this thing. Okay, what's wrong with my thing here? Okay. Oh, okay. Biden is not even in the ballpark playing the game. He looks like the Scarecrow on the Wizard of Oz, and the one thing they have in common is no brain. That is so true. Gene Dumper says, he doesn't lie. He's delusional. Absolutely. Hey, Marcus, how you doing? I could draw 100 people, but who am I? Yeah, really. There's probably more than 100 people watching this video. Unreal. He can't control anything, not even a weak dump. That's absolutely crazy. Okay, so that's what I can tell. There's 3,500 people watching this right now. Mozandi, this is a good one. Let me see if I can. Biden isn't answering questions. He's just saying he doesn't believe what Stephanopoulos is saying, or the polls doesn't take much memory for that, which he's probably told to do. Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is really bad. Excuse me. And pretty much easier to see when I break it down. Some of you guys may like, just let it play. But you have to hear the stuff he had to say. And then the look on Stephanopoulos' face was like, you're kidding, right? You're actually kidding that somebody could draw a crowd like this. Whew. Well, let's continue. Then at the end here, he talks about who Trump gets as his crowd.
Big crowd, but what does he say? Who's he have?
What does he say and who does he have? So you want to know who the people are that come to Trump rallies. Seriously? Are you guys still thinking that this guy's head is screwed on tight where he doesn't even know who it is? They're Americans. They're Americans who want nothing to do with you, Joe.
I'm the guy supposedly in trouble.
Elections are about the future, not the past. They're about tomorrow, not yesterday. And the question on so many people's minds right now is, can you serve effectively for the next 4 years?
George.
Okay, I'm going to lean in because when I lean in, it makes me sound more important. So let me tell you something, George.
I'm the guy that put NATO together, the future.
He put NATO together? I didn't know that. You guys know that? No. My history books didn't say that Joe Biden put NATO together. No, never heard that.
No one thought I could expand it. I'm the guy that shut Putin down.
He shut Putin down. Does Putin know that? Does your buddy Zelensky know that? Because I'm pretty sure Putin is still being Putin. In fact, I know he's meeting with, Xi from China. And I also know he's got nuclear submarines parked off the coast of Florida. So how exactly did you shut him down? Georgie didn't ask him that because Georgie didn't care, because Georgie is exposing that this guy's noggin is fried.
No one thought could happen. I'm the guy that put together the South Pacific Initiative with AUKUS. I'm the guy that got 50 nations, not only in Europe, outside of Europe as well, to help Ukraine. I'm the guy that got Japanese to expand their budget.
He somehow got Japan to expand their national budget. Funny, I'm pretty sure the Prime Minister of Japan wouldn't say that I took my marching orders from Joey B. I'm pretty sure of that.
I mean, for example, when I decided we used to have 40% of the computer chip, and we invented the chip.
We invented the computer chip. He's taking credit for that. As if, that's right. Us black people don't know how to use computers, so I can't really speak to that.
Chip, the computer chip.
But part of the other concern is that this seems to have fit into a pattern of decline that has been reported on recently.
He laughs.
The New York Times had a headline on July 2nd, Biden's lapses are said to be increasingly common and worrisome. Here's what they wrote. People who have spent time with President Biden over the last few months or so said the lapses appear to have grown more frequent, more pronounced, and after Thursday's debate, more worrisome.
They're leaking like sieves. I don't know who in the White House is putting this stuff out there, but they are leaking like sieves. This guy doesn't realize he's got crosshairs on his front and back. They're coming for him.
By many accounts, as evidenced by video footage, observation, and interviews, Mr. Biden is not the same today as he was even when he took office 3.5 years ago. Mm-hmm. Similar reporting in the Washington Post and the Wall Street Journal. Are you the same man today that you were when you took office 3.5 years ago?
In terms of successes, yes.
So the question was, are you the same man as you were when you took office 3 years ago? Again, Stephanopoulos is trying to say, are you the same guy? You still got it. You feel good. You're not taking Viagra. You're him, right? You're that guy full of vitality. Well, at least with my successes. What successes would that be? What would Americans say that your successes are, George? Joe. What successes exactly? But, Stephanopoulos didn't come back with them because that's not what he's trying to do. He's trying to expose this guy in as nice a way as possible.
I also was the guy who put together a peace plan for the Middle East that may be coming to fruition. I was also the guy that expanded NATO. I was also the guy that grew the economy. All the individual things that were...
He grew the economy. Okay.
done, were ideas I had or I fulfilled. I moved on. And so, for example, well, that was true then. What's Biden done lately? It's just today, just announced 200,000 new jobs.
Ah, see, again, George didn't follow up, but your jobs are going to A, government, and B, the newcomers. Americans are being forced out. You didn't look at page 2, paragraph B, to find out your jobs are fake, completely fake, and also the unemployment rate shot up. But you didn't mention that.
We're moving in a direction that no one's ever taken on. I know you know this from the days in the government. I took on Big Pharma. I beat them. No one's ever.
He's beaten Big Pharma. You mean the people who forced you to take these jabs and everything? You've beaten them? No, I don't think so. I don't think so, Joe. I think that they made billions.
I could beat them. I took on all the things we said we got done. We were told we couldn't get done. And part of it is what I said when I ran was I wanted to do 3 things. Restore some decency to the office.
All right, so let's look at these 3 things as he says them. Because George doesn't follow up, but I'm going to follow up. I want to restore some decency to the office. Oh, yeah, so you've had Transformers running around the White House. You've had other Transformers showing their boobs right there on the White House at a party on the lawn. You've had other Transformers out there dancing with you during a celebration. You've put that rainbow flag and had the military display it all over the place. You have a Transformer in one of your cabinet positions. You had to get rid of another one who is stealing luggage from airports. But you're the guy who's brought decency. Oh, wait a minute. And I forgot the guy who made the porn stoopy video in the Hall of Congress. That sounds very decent to me. What the hell are you talking about?
Restore some support for the middle class instead of trickle-down economics, go from the middle out and the bottom up.
So you wanted to support the middle class, and you told everybody you weren't going to raise their taxes, not a dime, yet people can't eat because you've raised everything else. You see, it's a nice trick that you've done here. But when people realize, hey, my groceries are too high, my gas is too high, oh, you've released all the reserves from the strategic oil reserves, trying to artificially inflate things. You've got newcomers who get billions across the country. They get free hotel rooms. They get all this other stuff. You're also out there buying votes by giving away student loan forgiveness that the Supreme Court told you not to. Yeah, that's pretty decent. Yeah, that's bringing decency and showing the middle class that I don't care about you.
The way the wealthy still do fine, everyone does better. And unite the country.
Okay, so I got cut off there. His number 3 was unite the country. I don't think this country is ever going to be united again. I think there's just a split right now. We are so far gone. We are so far from being united. You've got boys playing girls sports. You know all about the Transformers. You know all about the newcomers. You got everything that people aren't going to come together on. Not going to happen. But one thing they may be coming together on, Mr. Biden, is getting you out of the office. That's something you need to worry about, because that might be the united thing. Although Trump has now said, hey man, let him stay. Let this bro stay. Let him keep being in the office. It would be great. Awesome. Let it go.
How do you respond to critics who say that by staying in the race, you're doing the same thing?
Oh, come on.
Okay, so now I think this is where he begins. He asked him, you're staying in the race, you're causing some problems, but of course he's going to divert this. I think this is where he starts Trump hating.
Well, I don't think those critics know what they're talking about.
They're just wrong?
It's wrong.
Everybody's wrong.
Trump is a pathological liar.
Yep, here we go. Okay, pathological liar. This is what he falls back to. You know why? Because people who have his disease understand that they can fall back on things that they actually remember.
Trump is, he is. Have you ever seen anything Trump did that benefited somebody else, not him?
Sure. I'm sure, George, if he wanted to answer that question, has Trump ever done anything that benefits someone else that's not him? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Trump became president and gave away his salary. I could stop right there. I don't have to go any further. I could probably do a litany of things, not wasting your time. How about we just do that? How about Trump said, when I get hired and I'm going to be the president, I'm not going to take a salary. I'm going to give away $400,000 every single year to people who need the money, to this department, to that department, so that they can do what they need to do. I'll just stop there. Because, Joe, you didn't do it. You took every single dime. You didn't give away your salary. Matter of fact, I don't think a president should even have a salary. You get all the other perks of life. Okay, you run for president, you don't get a salary. Let's stop all this grift of these people coming in poor and leaving rich. Here we got with Trump a guy who came in rich, and you've done nothing but bleed him for basically 8 years, since 2016. So has Trump ever done something for somebody else? That's all I need to say. Man gave up his salary. Checkmate. Come back at me. Come at me, Joe.
You can't answer, I know.
I've questioned him and his allies as persistently as any journalist has.
No, I know you have. I'm not being critical.
Yeah.
I'm not being critical. But
Yeah.
look, I mean,
Wow, that was a long pause. Whew, I'm trying to remember what I was going to say.
man is a congenital liar. As I said, they pointed out in that debate he lied 27, 28 times the time.
So here is, if I go into conspiracy mode here, it's because I've done a lot of this. I want you to notice, you can see right here, I've got my earpiece in. And it's a bigger earpiece than if it was a CIA type earpiece. And it's because I need it to hear the video so it doesn't bleed into the microphone. Now imagine if I'm sitting like this and talking to you, guess what you don't see? You don't see that thing back there if I'm sitting a certain way and looking at the camera and talking to Georgie. How do we know that there wasn't something in his ear? I mean, you can't see it right now. If George is sitting in front of me, hey, how you doing, George? Yeah, Trump's 28 lies. Oh yeah, and then he said this and said that as well. You see what I mean? Here's a guy who can't remember much, but he knows enough to go back and say Trump lied. He's a congenital liar. He's 28 lies. He said that a couple times. You know, he may have memorized that from a script, which we're going to talk about scripts in a second as well.
Or whatever number, over 20 times. Talk about how good his economy was, how he brought down inflation, how this is a guy.
He did bring down inflation. It was 1.4% when you got into office.
Unlike only other president other than him is Hoover, lost more jobs than he created.
Seriously, Joe? Did something happen right before he left office that you guys pretty much created so that everybody in the country had to shut down? Do you remember, Joe? Do you really not remember what happened right about the time he was running for president? Where we had to shut down everything. Nobody could go to work. You couldn't go to school. Couldn't visit people in the hospital. Do you remember that? Nah. So, but he lost more jobs than when he came in. Gotcha.
Guy told us to put bleach in our arms to deal.
Hoax. Absolute hoax. There he goes again. He's just comfortable saying BS.
With COVID, with over a million people died.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Are you sure you're being honest with yourself?
Now, I love this question. Are you sure you're being honest? Not with the people. Are you being honest with yourself? You know, are you that dude? Are you okay?
And you say you have the mental and physical capacity to serve another 4 years.
Yes, I am, because, George, the last thing I want to do is not be able to meet that.
Well, then take the test. It's pretty simple, isn't it? Hey, listen, that's the last thing. Last thing I'd want to do is not be able to be the president I think I could be. And I'm going to prove to America that I can be that president. How? I'm going to take this cognitive test. I'm going to just slay it. I'm going to tear it apart.
I think, as some of the senior economists and senior foreign policy specialists say, if I stop now, I'd go down in history as a pretty successful president.
No, you won't. You go down worse than Jimmy Carter. So here's what I think is happening in the White House. They feed him information that they want him to see. They tell him stuff that they want him to basically say in interviews. They get 51 intelligence officers to say this. They get 20 people to say that. And they basically choreograph the whole thing. But it's not working anymore.
No one thought I could get done what we got done.
But are you being honest with yourself?
Love it. He's coming right back to it. See, I'm not showing the same clip over again. He asked him the question. Joe didn't answer it. He's asking him again.
As well, about your ability to defeat Donald Trump right now.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
So why does he think he can beat Donald Trump right now? Yes. 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 Well, listen to him here.
I understand that. And I understand that's why you want to stay in the race. But have you convinced yourself that only you can defeat him?
I convinced myself of two things. I'm the most qualified person to beat him.
All right, so I had to break that. So I've convinced myself of two things. One, I'm the most qualified person to beat him. Why? Because you got installed in 2020? What exactly is it that, because you didn't let anyone else run against you, so you consider yourself the most qualified person to beat him? Okay.
I know how to get things done.
And number two, I know how to get things done. Like what? And George didn't question him on that. He let him go.
Let's start.
All right, before we go to the next one, let me take some of your comments. What's up, Tommy? The reason why lying Biden is taking breaks before he stutters a sentence is the evil speaker is telling him what to say. Every single sentence is relayed to Biden in a earpiece that otherwise lost. Yeah, I think so. His legacy is that he's a liar and a loser, the worst U.S. president ever. Yes, you're right. Wisconsin at this point now has ballot boxes. Corey Bernhardt says he can't even pass a kindergartner exam, guaranteed. Guard the vote, 24, protect the vote. Yes, absolutely. Chadwick says this is a shit show. Biden is delusional. Oh, it gets better. There's more. Don't go nowhere. By the end of this show, in which we're about halfway through, I'm going to show you some things where you can tell at this point, as I said earlier, that what their problem isn't Joe being marshmallow brain. Their problem is people are finding out. You're going to see that. I can't wait to you're lagging. Biden is brain dead. He is. He's been in politics for 50 years and has done nothing good. Yeah, if there was a real interviewer talking to him, if you've been so successful, you ask again, I'll go back to athlete, any businessman who's gotten some entrepreneurial success in his background. What have you done that you're proud of? Well, I hit 3 home runs back on this day. Yeah, okay, here's a really quick example. My wife and I are baseball fans. I'm a Red Sox fan. She's a Yankee fan. Okay, so yesterday afternoon, we're sitting here chilling after being in the pool. We turn on, hey, the Red Sox and Yankees are on. Cool, let's watch them. And this young 24-year-old kid who's now playing first base for the Yankees that nobody's heard of gets up there and hits 2 home runs. After the second home run, they're trying to tell him to take a curtain call. They tip your hat to it. He didn't even know how to do it. They're like, go down there and you go up the stairs. And you take tip your hat to the crowd. Take the encore. That's an accomplishment that kid will remember the rest of his life. I'm a rookie. I didn't even get called up to the bigs until June 18th. June 18th was his first game with the Yankees. Yesterday, he embarrassed my Red Sox something off. He hit 2 home runs. He jacked both these 2 pitches. He's got a beautiful swing. it was as soon as he swung, I'm sitting there watching with my wife. I'm like, that's gone. She's like, how could you tell him? I just looked at his swing. His swing was so perfect. The timing, perfect. And he's a Yankee. I hate it. But what I'm saying is, if you do something stupendous, something so good that you're going to remember the rest of your life, it's easy recalling that. Hey, Joe, what have you done that's so great? Well, I put a bunch of black people in jail. Oh, no, besides that. What have you done? Say it. You don't have to lie. We're giving you the opportunity, but he couldn't say it. So let's continue because I got a lot to go through.
Debate. You and your team have said you had a bad night, but your friend Nancy Pelosi actually framed the question that I think is on the minds of millions of Americans. Was this a bad episode or the sign of a more serious condition?
It's a bad episode.
He's been having a lot of those lately, hasn't he? Bad episodes.
No indication of any serious condition. I was exhausted.
You just had a bad episode right there. George could probably tell you. It was a bad episode. What? What did you just say? I don't understand the words that just came out of your mouth. Blah, 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 blah. Okay.
I didn't listen to my instincts in terms of preparing, and I had a bad night.
You know, you say you were exhausted, and I know you've said that before as well, but you came, and you did have a tough month, but you came home from Europe about 11 or 12 days before the debate, spent 6 days in Camp David. Why?
Okay, so if you guys don't know, he was over there in Normandy and did some things, and he and his wife were flying back and forth, at least Jill was, but he had a European trip. It takes a lot out of you. You know, many of you have flown vacation. Maybe some of you fly for a living. Sometimes flying can suck, especially, when we've got to go through TSA and we've got to go through all these checks and stand in these lines. Sometimes the check-in is longer than the flight. Oh, wait a minute. You're on Air Force One. Excuse me. You're on Air Force One. It's the most cushy plane in existence. Climate controlled, pressure controlled. Should be, you get done talking and it's like walking into your bedroom. There should be nothing really wrong. But in any event, let's give you the benefit of a doubt. You flew from France back to the United States 12 days before the debate. 12 days before the debate. I've gone to Rome. My wife actually has gone to Israel, which is like a 14-hour trip. She used to live in Hawaii, so we flew to Hawaii, which is basically 4 hours to LA and then another 5 hours to Hawaii. She's been to New Zealand, which is like a stone in the middle of the ocean, 10 hours away from Hawaii. And none of us could really understand that you need 12 days to recuperate from a long flight. When I went to Rome and we were there, I think we were there 12 days. Loved it, by the way. This was pre-jab time. And people asked me, hey, did you feel anything from flying that far or anything? I said, no. Why? I never changed my watch. So I never had a mindset of, oh, wait a minute, it's actually this time in Florida. What time is it? No, hey, listen, it's 6 o'clock. That's what time it is in Florida. That's what I'm going to do. I need to eat now because it's 6 o'clock in Florida, no matter what time it was over there. There's all kinds of things people do who've traveled a lot and travel for business to make sure they're comfortable, that they can wake up in the morning for meetings and do what they need to do. And this guy's a president of the United States on the best aircraft in the world. And you're telling me 12 days and then 6 more days of seclusion, you had jet lag.
Wasn't that enough rest time, enough recovery time?
Because I was sick. I was feeling terrible. Matter of fact, the docs with me, I asked if they did a COVID test because they were trying to figure out what was wrong. They did a test to see whether or not I had some infection,
I got to cut that for a second there. Remember during the press conference, Karine Jean-Pierre said that nobody, didn't see a doctor. And he blew it on this interview. But I got something else that popped up today. I want to interject this right now. So the president on July 4th was up on the rotunda. And if you guys saw the rotunda, it was him, and Jill and a bunch of the Biden clan, and then Kamala and her husband were there, right? In close proximity, just having fun. Kamala Harris' husband tests positive for C today, according to the White House. How in the hell did that happen? You're literally, 3 feet away from the President of the United States. And you today, this was at 4:07 p.m. today, you test positive for the C word. Who did you catch it from? Because it's supposedly a transmittable virus. I'm looking at this photo shot. Let me just bring it up a little bit further. And I'm looking at you literally standing 3 feet away from the guy who said he wasn't feeling good, was tested for it, but now he's okay. Vice President right there, Jill Biden right there, the guy on the right tests positive today. I'm going to show you the time so you know I'm not BSing you. There's the time right there. 4:07 p.m. on July 7th. 4:07 p.m. How did that happen? How did it happen? Coincidence? I think not. They call us conspiracy theories, but lo and behold, today at 4:07 p.m., right before I click the button to go live, news breaks that the first gentleman or second gentleman, whatever he's called, he got the C. Oh, by the way, he's been jabbed like 15 times, so he should be okay. But our president had a cold. Gotcha.
Virus. I didn't. He just had a really bad cold.
I guess the question,
Are you seeing the inconsistencies with this? Are you able to look at these things as a reasonably thinking adult and go, this shit doesn't make any sense? Something's wrong, man. I just don't get it. What is wrong? What is going on with our government? What is going on with the media? If nobody else looked at that article, if nobody else looked at this and said, this doesn't make any damn sense, are they not just going back? That's July 4th. Today is July 7th. 3 days. I'm not Fauci, but I'm pretty sure the incubation period for the C is more than 3 days. So how did this guy all of a sudden test positive, and the 80-something-year-old president, no, I'm fine, dude. I'm okay. Yeah, think about that.
problem is here for a lot of Americans watching is you've said, going back to 2020, watch me, to people who are concerned about your age. And, 50 million Americans watched that debate. It seemed to confirm fears they already had.
Well, look, after that debate, I did 10 major events.
Lie. George didn't call him on it. I don't know if you guys caught that. After the debate, so post-debate, he did 10, quote, major events. He did some fundraisers. That's not a major event. What are these 10 major events that we all should know? You're the president. What 10 events? Nobody called him on that.
In a row, including till 2 o'clock in the morning after that debate.
Not just 10 events, 10 in a row, and they were gone as long as 2 o'clock in the morning. Oh my God.
I did events in North Carolina. I did events in Georgia. Did events like this today. Large crowds, overwhelming response, no slipping. And so I just had a bad night. I don't know why.
He went to a Waffle House. Does that count? Can we say that counts? That he went to a Waffle House? I mean, that's kind of what he's talking about. Russia did. It was the Russians. It was the Russians. 20 people is a major event for Biden. I guess 10 people were at the Waffle House. So, good question here. So how many people has he been in close proximity to after the debate? Wonder if any got the C word. Vice President's husband, which means anyone checking her, she's the one laying in bed next to him, right? Supposedly. So they're kissing. Right? She all right? Or that's something else you guys going to hide from us? It just doesn't make any sense. You got to admit it. Snuffleupagus isn't giving him a total tongue bath. No, he didn't at all. So that's the end of that interview and stuff I pulled out because it was just incredible. So now what you have to ask yourself is what's going to happen next? And so this was what we're going to get into next is the fallout from the debate and the Stephanopoulos interview. People around the country, political peeps, newspaper, media people, have now said, oh crap, what are we going to do? So let's continue. I don't want to keep you guys here too long, but you got to hear this stuff.
But there was nothing in this interview that is calming nerves of jittery Democrats who fear.
This is George Carl, I believe his name is. I forget whatever his name, John Carl from ABC News. This is what he said directly after the interview.
That Joe Biden is on a trajectory to lose this race, to lose to Donald Trump. In fact, for some of those people, the interview is raising new concerns.
So not only did the interview not quell the problems before the interview, it's actually caused more concerns. That's called a fail, an absolute fail. If you've got more people concerned about what's going on than you did before you started the interview.
Particularly the fact that he is unwilling or unaware of the fact that he is in a dire situation here regarding the campaign, that he is.
I understand wanting to keep up a good face and understand I can't let this get down to me. But now people are saying, are you not even aware that you're about to get your ass waxed by Trump? Do you not realize what's about to happen? And they're saying he's oblivious to it. He doesn't realize he's about to get smacked. That's horrible. I mean, again, go back to some sports analogies. You know when you're about to play a team that's a lot better than you. You definitely know it. You know you're going to have to come with your A game and hope something happens. This guy is what he's saying is Biden doesn't even realize it.
Is losing in the view of many Democrats. And frankly, in the polls you cited, that he is losing to Donald Trump.
Yeah, he is. Absolutely.
Well, the question is,
all right, this one here is devastating. This is David Axelrod, who is part of the Obama campaign and that apparatus there. Listen to what he says.
He changed the minds of voters who were watching that. I don't really think so. You know, Jim, I think the thing, and some of it I found sad, but
That's not the word I want associated with the leader of the free world. What I found him saying was sad. I felt empathy. I felt sorry for this guy. This is the president of the United States, and these people in the media are now looking like it's a funeral.
He seems not to be able to compute the fact that people have these questions about him.
Okay, so if he can't compute that fact, let's break that down. We're going to deconstruct this stuff now, or we have been. If he can't compute the fact of what is happening around him, who in the media, who in the administration, who is telling him, you're fine? Only one person, Jill. Jill's the one who says, you did fantastic, Joe. Literally, I'm not making it up. After the debate, she was just talking like a kindergarten teacher, where everyone in his orbit is like, oh my God, it's all falling apart. All falling apart right now.
He said, when George Stephanopoulos asked him if he'd be willing to take a cognitive test, he said, I take a cognitive test every day. Well, the fact is, that may be true, but 75% of the American people think he failed.
Ouch. Ouch. Psh, psh. If you say you take a cognitive test every single day, do you not know that 75% of the Americans, 75, not just Democrats or Republicans, 75% of everybody think you got noggin issues? If 75% of the people I come through in my orbit felt something was wrong, and they have, Barry, you need to lose some weight. All right, you're right. No more blueberry muffins. I got it. No more. Nope. You got to use unsweet tea. What? Really? And you got to cut down on pasta. What? I love pasta. Nope. Can't eat it. You know why? Because there was a consensus. And the consensus is you're not a football player anymore. You need to start backing down on the diet. You need to take back on calories. But you know why? Because people who love me, who I trust, are willing to tell you. You may have family and friends who you say, hey, listen, you need to go on a diet. Hey, Bob, your breath stank. Thanks, man. I'll go get a mint. Hey, man, you may want to knock off on the alcohol. You're drinking way too much lately. Thanks, man. I love you for saying that. Is there no one around this guy saying, hey, man, everybody's looking at you, and 75% of the people that you're looking at, remember, looking is a two-way street. If I can see you, you can see me. If 75% of the people that I see think I got a bad noggin, I need to address that. And he's not.
That he fails. I mean, they've lost. And so this is a real problem for him, and it's something that shows up in every poll. And in terms of where he stands in the race, no politician out there has the same perception that the president does, that this is a tied race and he's right in the hunt right now. He was 10 points ahead 4 years ago. He's 6 points behind now, worsens.
All right, so if he said no politician would tell him that. Remember what Joe said. Joe said, the people I talk to tell me it's basically break even. It's a 50-50 shot. Then he came back and said, oh, I heard the other poll was like I was 10 points down. Who is advising him? Please tell me it's not Hunter. Is that who you're listening to? Because everybody else can say, you're drowning, dude.
In most of the battleground states, and now in danger of losing states that weren't thought to be in contention. So
that's what I see as the problem. I said it earlier. That's what I think is going on. They found a way to attack him because he's losing. There was no other way to get to him. He's the president of the United States. But now, because the deluge is coming, he's like, now we got an opportunity to get this old man out of here. Not realizing they don't have a backup. There's no designated hitter. There's nobody to put in. Kamala? Seriously? That's the DEI hire that you just put in there because she was a black woman, and now who's got nothing but a cackling resume? That's who you want to bring in? That's who's coming out your bullpen? You calculated very badly.
See, Jim, you saw it in Wisconsin today. Tammy Baldwin, the senator from Wisconsin, wasn't at this event.
All right, so Tammy Baldwin, just so you know, Tammy Baldwin is a senator. She's from Wisconsin. She has been a big Biden advocate. Biden goes to Wisconsin to do a rally or whatever. And she's, I'm washing my hair. I can't come. What do you mean? You're the Democrat senator from Wisconsin. You're not going to show up and show your support for the president of the United States, who's also a Democrat? I got cold. She said she had a prior commitment. I don't know if you knew that. That's how far at this point these people are giving him the Heisman. They don't want to even be stained by being associated with Joe Biden. That's how bad it's gotten at this point. I'm busy. I gotta clip my dog's nails. This is the president of the United States coming to your home state, and you don't even bother to show up, and you tell him in advance, I ain't gonna be there. It's not like you got a flat tire on the way. You announced it to the press, I ain't going.
Why? Because she's up for re-election, and it's not helpful to her to be seen with the president. This is what's going to...
Can you imagine that? Someone who's up for re-election saying that being seen with this dude isn't good for my political career. Let that sink in for a second. A sitting senator has determined that being seen with the president isn't good for her political career.
Happen. And somebody really needs to be honest with him about it. It's not. It can't be the good Lord, but it should be the people who love and care for him and his.
Well, I disagree there. I'm gonna get some. It is Sunday after all, right? Many of you probably go to service or mass and pray, and so it could indeed be the good Lord. There have been many times where I have actually prayed and said, "Give me a signal. I'm submitting to your will. Tell me what it is I should be doing. Give me the words. Guide me." Of course, Joe's not going to do that because, that's not something he would ever do. That's obviously not something this guy would ever do. But yes, if he looked for the sign, if he asked for guidance, if he asked for intervention, more than likely he's going to get some information. He may not like the message. He may not like what's told to him. I know I've gotten messages where I'm like, really? I got to go apologize to her? She was the one that gave me a hard time, Lord. It was her fault. I don't care if she's mad. All right. You really want me to do that, Lord? I got to go hug this woman and tell her I love her when she was the one that picked the fight? All right. And you do it. Those of you who are Christian, you understand what I'm talking about.
Closest advisors, his portrait of where he is in this race doesn't comport with reality.
His portrait of where he is in this race does not comport with reality. I don't think that there's a worse analogy that you could give, a worse description of a president than to say where you are and what you think you are don't match. The reality that you're looking at doesn't match. You're completely obstructed. There must be a second debate. If I was Trump, I wouldn't do it at all. The Lord would tell Joe, get on the elevator and press the basement button. Pat Hacker, yep, especially if it's the wife. Absolutely. Happy wife, happy life. You guys all know that. We have somebody in here who might be a jokester. Joe Biden killed Trump in the debate. Yeah, good luck with that. Like Axelrod just said, if you're serious, then let me just realize your perception does not comport with reality. Okay? Because everybody can see otherwise. Everybody. So I hope that was just a joke. Please tell me that was a joke. Dementia is a loss of reality. Debbie, no, you can't. You really can't make this up. That's why when I think it was James Smith that said, Barry, you doing a live video tomorrow? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have to spend some time putting some stuff and assembling some stuff so I can show it to you in this manner because I know most people won't go this deep, but I felt compelled to do that. So listen to this piece. This piece is basically what they're saying here is that the Dems are angry.
How concerned are lawmakers about down ballot races?
They are far more concerned privately than they have said publicly. I mean, it is a flat-out panic at this point.
Okay, so flat-out panic that the down ballot races are in peril. Down ballot meaning Senate, House, dog catcher. The stain of Joe Biden right now is filtering down upon many people, which is why Tammy Duckworth in Wisconsin said, sorry, I'm busy, gotta wash my hair. Can't come, Joe. And so what they're saying right now is confirming what Tammy said. Tammy said, I can't come because you stink. I can't be around you. Can't have that stain on me. And what this woman is saying is she's been talking to many Democrats who are now saying, hey, we can't even be associated with them.
But, if you look at it, and if the Biden administration says it's up to the voters, well, 3/4 of the voters in a very divided America agree on one thing, and it's that he doesn't have the mental acuity to go forward.
He did unite the American public. Oh, my God, I was wrong. She is so right. In a divided America where we can't even agree if it's raining or not raining, 75% of people, the overwhelming majority of people, have said this dude's noggin is messed up. So you did unite the people on one thing. The other 25%, they're like that guy, I guess, who just posted that Biden killed Trump in a debate. All right, so this one here. This one is if I was Biden and I heard this one, I would get on the phone and start dialing right now. We need help. Call in reinforcements. Something's wrong. Listen to this.
Democrats are so angry and have lost trust to the point where many have told me it's completely irreparable.
All right, irreparable, she means irreparable. I know, I went to high school. I went to college. It's called irreparable. So anyway, she said they're angry. Right now, it's irreparable. We can't fix this. There's nothing we can do. You can't bring this back. It is July 7th at 6:20 p.m. or so, and right now, the Democrats know it's over. That's why I've been saying landslide. That's why the title of this video is what it was. There's only one way they can win right now, and they know it. That's it. It's over. We as voters, we as supporters have to make sure that doesn't happen, because that's the only way at this point that they can win. And they all know it. They're now saying it. There's nothing we can do about this. We're pissed off. What do we do? They know it. If they know it and they're willing to go on television and say it, there's not much that's going to change between July and November. I don't even care if they put Trump in jail in September. It doesn't matter to me. He's still going to be president, barring you know what. All right, listen to this.
Because the White House and the campaign, we're just spinning them. We're saying, no, Biden's going to be fine. It was just a bad night. Everyone on Capitol Hill saw what many Americans saw. They're hearing it from constituents. And I have to say, it really is, as many Democrats have pointed out to me, a very painful moment for them.
Again, Axelrod said sad. This woman says painful. They're associating these kind of words with the President of the United States, the leader of the free world. Sad, painful. It's a funeral. He doesn't realize they put him in the grave because he's got Hunter and Jill around him, but everybody else, including Nancy and Clyburn, are now starting to say, yeah, me. I heard Adam Schiff today in a video go, yeah, he might need to go. His allies are few and far between at this point.
It's a somber moment. They know that...
Somber, sad, painful. These are words they're using to describe the President of the United States.
They're going to go into these meetings behind closed doors with members. It's going to be very emotional. And there are a number of House Democrats and senators who are still behind Biden, who are in those group texts saying, no, we need to stick with the president. But almost everyone that I have spoken to, especially on the House side, say, at some point this week, the collective already is that many Democrats want Biden to step aside, and the interview.
You see how hard it is? It's amazing to me. Some of these media people are so much in the tank. It is actually painful for them to say the truth. You can see her struggling with her words. It's tough out there, and people are struggling, and there's a coalition building. It's painful. It's a somber time. Those are words you use when you're about to go to a wake or somebody's on their deathbed in the hospital. You're somber when you go to see them. It's painful. Oh my God, I love you, and you're laying in bed here, and you're never going to come home. That's how they're describing the President of the United States on national television, where all of our enemies can see. The media right now is just like, oh boy, what do we do? This isn't good. That's why I'm telling you, get your popcorn ready tomorrow. The Senate and the House are back in session tomorrow. Get your popcorn. Be ready. It's going to be crazy.
On Friday, when he said, it was through we've only heard concerns through the press. That has only emboldened Democrats to.
Think about that. They are so combative with Joe right now that Joe said it's only in the press where you're hearing this. And she says it's emboldened Democrats to speak louder. Joe, you're not hearing us. You don't understand. Now we're going to have to really let everybody know we want you gone.
More than likely go public this week.
How important?
All right, so she just said at the end there, more than likely, they are going to see people going public this week. They're coming back into Washington, and you're going to see people begin to basically jump ship. They're going to jump off the Titanic. But there are some in the media. There are some who blame George Stephanopoulos for what he did. You won't believe this piece. Let's run cut whatever number this is.
President Biden's exclusive interview with ABC's George Stephanopoulos was going to be. But I listened to it, I watched it, I read the transcript of it. It seemed to me, and again, this is with all respect to George, but it seemed to me like Stephanopoulos was pushing one issue only, one issue.
That's what the purpose of the interview was, dummy. The one issue he was pushing was, are you okay? That's exactly what the interview was for. It wasn't for a campaign speech. It wasn't for go after Trump. It was to let people know, the 75% of people who think the guy's got a marshmallow for a brain, those 75% of people needed to hear him talk. Need to hear him talk unscripted. Make sure it's okay. And MSNBC here is like, it was too hard on Joe.
Whether Biden is okay cognitively to be president. I mean, Susan, I don't think that should have been the point of the interview. I'll concede that maybe some questions should have been posed to President Biden, but noting Trump declined to sit for a one-on-one with George Stephanopoulos.
It's not about Trump. You can't use classic deflection anymore. This is 75% of Americans are really concerned that our president, who's in charge and has the nuclear button at this point, his finger on the nuclear button, is a vegetable. And you're mad because George Stephanopoulos is exposing it. Our media sucks.
Why such a focus on that? Why such a focus on that issue?
I don't know if you saw that before. I was blown away. I'm like, what? Why are we focusing on this? Why? Joe's going to be okay. We just got to get him through the finish line, then we'll sub somebody else in. Stop talking about it. I saw that and I was like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. Okay, let's continue here.
Ask yourself whether Democrats...
All right, so this woman, this is on ABC this week that aired this morning. And she's talking about, again, the interview and what needs to happen. Watch this.
To be having the same conversation today if Joe Biden were leading Donald Trump. It's the reason why Republicans aren't talking about replacing Donald Trump. He looks like he's going to win handily at this point from an election.
Handily. 3-alarm fire going off right now in the Democrat Party. 3-alarm fire. They're freaking out.
Electoral college standpoint, could be one of the largest victories we've seen in a long time.
One of the largest victories we've seen in a long time. That's what I've been telling y'all. There's only one way they can win. Outside of that, we're talking landslide territory.
So yes, they want to run against Joe Biden at this moment, but they see Harris as vulnerable as well. It's a win-win right now for Republicans.
Donna, it's all hypothetical, but let's talk about the possibilities if President Biden does indeed decide to step aside. Foregone conclusion that Kamala Harris gets the nomination? It would be very...
All right, so this is Donna Brazile. If you don't remember Donna, she used to be the head of the Democratic National Convention Committee, DNC. She was also the person who gave the network the questions for Hillary. We're going to talk about giving questions away, too. So right now, she's like, is Kamala it? Is that who they're going to go to?
Very difficult to replace somebody who's been vetted, who knows the job, has done a tremendous, I think she's done a tremendous job.
She actually just said that. She just said that Kamala Harris has done a great job, a fantastic job. Of what? What has Kamala Harris done? See, that's going to be their next problem. How do you basically say Kamala has done a great job? She hadn't done anything. I mean, Zippo, nothing. She was supposed to be the border czar. She can't run on that. She can't even talk about it. She hadn't even been there. I think she went there once. In 3.5 years, she's been to the border once. Don't quote me on that. Look it up, but it's going to be under 3 that she's even been to the border. So what in the hell has Kamala Harris done well?
And to ask the delegates elected to the convention who are Biden-Harris supporters to bypass Kamala Harris because some Republicans and a few others may not like her.
Oh, well, don't blame that on us. What the heck was she talking about? Because Republicans don't like her? No, we don't care. You can run Joe, you can run Kamala. It ain't on us. See, well, here's the problem, and I've told you in other videos. Some people didn't believe me. I said you cannot jump and leapfrog over Kamala Harris if Joe goes down. Can't happen. If you do that, you will lose a significant portion of the female vote, and you're going to lose a massive portion of the black vote. Because you put a DEI hire in as vice president, because you thought that would be cool to bring Kamala Harris in as your vice president, where someone who didn't even get 1% when she was running for president. Not 1, 0. I think she was below 1.06 or something. Because you decided, I'm just going to bring in the first black woman, that was the qualifications. And I told you, like in many videos, I said if they try to jump over Kamala, they're even more toast than they are now. They are hemorrhaging votes to the black community. They are hemorrhaging votes to the Latino, Hispanic community. And now you're telling me you want to jump over Kamala and you're going to piss off some women? Just the mere fact that you would install Kamala, you're looking at a landslide as well because she ain't going to get the votes. But don't blame it on us. She goes, the Republicans are upset. No, I'm not upset.
It would be political malpractice.
Political malpractice. So now we're into the stage. This is today, I think. Yes, 8:30 this morning. This is Axelrod back on television. The other one was right after the interview. What he says here is what I've been telling you and what Democrats are beginning to realize.
It's just there are certain immutable facts of life, and those were painfully obvious on that debate stage. And the president just doesn't seem to he hasn't come to grips with it. He's not winning this race. He's more likely, if you just look at the data and talk to people around the country, political people around the country, it's more likely that he'll lose by a landslide than win narrowly this race.
He's going to lose by a landslide. We are now seeing this term being bandied about. Not neck and neck, not going to be a close race. When Democrats are now saying, this dude's going to lose in a landslide, it's not even close. Means they've seen the internal data. They know what's coming. They're watching this train wreck. They're watching this thing go off the tracks. And there's nothing they can do about it. They are watching the Biden train wreck and they feel completely helpless. They all look like this. They all got their face very sullen, very upset, very painful, very sober, as the other lady said. It's just getting really bad. All right, so let me get another one in here before we take some comments.
Something I listened to both of them.
All right, this is really important. I hope I may have to turn this up if you guys can't hear it. So let me preface this. So the other day, Joe goes and does a scheduled interview on a radio station. Okay, goes and does this interview. Calls himself the first black woman president. His words, not mine. And so then, again, the leaking is just off the charts. These people go on CNN and go, hey, guess what, man? What? They gave us the questions in advance and told us what to ask this vegetable. What? How did CNN get a hold of these two black disc jockeys? These guys were on the radio, these black disc jockeys, radio hosts, whatever you want to call them, and they're coming on CNN to tell you Yeah, man, the White House, they gave us the questions.
There's something that's similar here. You each were, you asked 4 questions, and maybe that's what you were allowed to ask by the campaign or the White House. But they were essentially the same questions, both interviews, about accomplishments, progress in your respective state, what's at stake in the election, what he has to say about his debate performance, and what he would say to...
Now, understand, I've done a lot of interviews, and what you typically do when you do an interview is, what are we going to, especially if it's somebody who's got a book or a movie or something, like, what are we covering today? So we're going to talk about crime in Chicago, okay, and we're going to talk about the number of black murders, and we're going to talk about this. All right, just so we know what we're talking about, because neither one of us want to waste any time. Got it, got it. That's what we're going to talk about. You don't tell the person, question number 1 will be, what did this, and sit back and nod. You don't do that. That's not something you do. You actually answer the questions based upon what the host wants to ask you.
Voters who think their vote doesn't matter or might sit this election out. Were those questions given to you by the White House, or did you have, or the campaign, or did you have to submit questions ahead of this interview?
The questions were sent to me for approval. I approved of them.
Okay.
How did CNN get a hold of these people? I have no idea. I have no idea, but they're blabbing right here. She's kind of smiling. The questions were sent to us for approval.
So the White House sent the questions to you ahead of the interview?
Yes.
Okay.
Boom. Boom. Train wreck continues.
I got several questions, 8 of them, and the 4 that were chosen were the ones that I approved.
They didn't just send you a couple. They sent you 8 questions to ask in a 15-minute interview and say, these are the questions that we approve for you to ask. The White House did that. And somehow this made the news and got out there.
Okay. And the reason I ask is not a criticism of either view. It's just that if the White House is trying now to prove the vim, vigor, acuity of the president, I don't know how they do that by sending questions first before the interview so that the president knows what's coming.
They do that because it can appear that he has the vitality and the ability to go through those questions. They do that, excuse me, specifically because it looks like he's on the ball, that he can respond. That he's right there at the ready. Hey, what color is the orange? Oh, the oranges are oranges. I've seen oranges in the store, and oranges are that's the modus operandi. That's what they wanted to do. But unfortunately, the word got out. And let me see if I can show this to you guys. You won't believe this. Okay, so there it is. The radio host that went on CNN to talk about that. Let me see, maybe I should go to this screen so you guys can see the whole thing. There you go. Biden radio interview scandal escalates as host is fired for allowing the White House to send scripted questions even though president still made major gaffe when he said he was a black woman. So these people doing the White House a favor, and then they blabbed it, and someone in the White House went to the radio station and said, you need to fire the prosecutor. Oh, I'm sorry. That was a different conversation. You need to fire this host for going on CNN. Can you imagine that? At this point in this election, because now you know what's going to happen. You got me fired? You got me fired because I did what you wanted to? Where's this Trump guy? Can somebody get Trump on the phone? Can somebody get Trump's press people on the phone? I got some stories to tell you. You are creating black voters by the day, Biden. You don't even understand what you're doing at this point. You are allowing people, 2 black people, I'm not sure what city it was, but I think they're in Philadelphia. In Philadelphia, a swing state. You got 2 black people fired because they went on CNN and told them what you did. How do you think, and you guys can leave me a comment, I got to take a break after this, how do you think that's going to go over in the black community? How do you think black people are going to take it that the disc jockeys that were there to help you prove your vitality, that you still got it, that you blew it on the interview by calling yourself the first black woman, and then you got the host fired for going on CNN and telling them that you got the question? These people are obtuse beyond obtuse. They just seem to be flailing at this point. They don't seem to have any idea what's going on or the repercussions of what they're doing. You fired the host that agreed to help you with your interview. You got him fired. And then you expect people in the black community not to hear about that? In Philadelphia? Like I said, tomorrow, get your popcorn ready because it's going to be unbelievable. See you in 60 seconds. Actually, 2 minutes. If you've watched my videos, you know that I've often referred to my dad came from Jamaica. He was an immigrant. He came the right way. And then he worked and busted his hump here in America to build a business. What you may not know is that he was so proud of America, he joined the Army. He even talked my brother into going to West Point. I didn't go that route myself. Didn't want to join the Army. But I always listened to him. One of the things he used to say is that America did so much for him that he wanted to protect it and protect the American way of life. And of course, he wanted to protect what he built. He worried specifically about times like we're living in today. So one of the lessons he told me was to protect yourself, son, and buy some gold. But I was too strong-headed, wanted to do my own thing, and I didn't listen. But as I grew older, I realized everything he said was right. So I bought gold to make sure my family was protected. Right now, I think all of us can see that America is in trouble. I'm sure, like me, you hope that Trump gets elected in November. However, you have to make sure you protect yourself now just in case he doesn't. You definitely don't want to get caught flat-footed. Lear Capital can help you prepare for the uncertainty of tomorrow and the potential turmoil in America if Trump doesn't win. Lear Capital has had over $3 billion in trusted transactions. They have thousands of 5-star reviews and a 24-hour risk-free purchase guarantee. Lear Capital is the precious metal leader that you can trust. If you want to get protected and hedge what's going to be going on politically, give Lear Capital a call at 800-601-5430 or visit learberry.com. And by calling today, you may be eligible to pick up $15,000 in free bonus precious metals with a qualified purchase. Give Lear a call at 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. And we're back. So I'm looking at some of these comments here. They're pretty hilarious. This one here says, Biden mafia crime family needs their own prison wing. They do. I mean, I can't believe they got this woman fired. It's incredible. I don't even see how some people are able to put gas in their vehicles to get to work and put food on their table. But everything should be fine. Yeah. Yes, the Supreme Court should indeed step in for Trump. I mean, at this point, they should basically do something about these ballot boxes, do an emergency hearing, stop them from trying to steal it. Biden out here lying and pandering again on the student loan debt. He doesn't have authority. Supreme Court made that clear. Nancy Pelosi even stated that she did for sure. What else? It's like 2009 all over again. Hi, I'm Joey, short for Jeffrey Baratheon that's from a Game of Thrones. Hartford Whalers hat. No, it's funny you say that. I grew up outside of Hartford, and then they moved to Carolina. But this is something Wales. I forget what it is. Something Wales, a little preppy hat. But I'm about to retire this one. People said I need to get a new hat. Jeremy Reeves says Biden administration equals, yep, I believe that for sure. John Stewart says Biden will win again, another landslide at 4:17 a.m. in 2024. They will lock all the doors and windows, and we'll all get the bird flu, and 1 trillion mail-in ballots will put Biden over the Trump. That's the only way he wins. There is no other way he wins. I just hope there's enough enough people in place to make sure that crap doesn't happen again. So let's continue now. I've got some more videos for you. I know we're an hour and a half plus here, but bear with me. I'm going to tie all this together.
Can I talk about an issue for 1 minute on Friday night? Can he win Michigan? I don't know. I'm not sure what Democrats he's going to win right now. The entire thesis of the campaign, was democracy's on the ballot. And when George Stephanopoulos asked him, well, if you lose and all these bad things come to pass, will you be okay with that? And he said, well, as long as we gave it our all. Now, if I was a Democrat hasn't blinked since January of 2017, or one of these never-Trumpers who's worried about all this, and I heard Joe Biden admit that it's all just a facade, that it's all just a talking point, I would be freaked out right now to find out there's no animating issue for this campaign. It's just a grift. It's a grift.
It's a huge grift. He's absolutely right. They're going to save democracy, but in order for us to save democracy, we have to tear it down first. Because we know you guys all across the country voted for Joe Biden in the primaries, but that didn't count. So we're going to do something different. We're going to try and get rid of Joe, and we're going to see if Kamala works. And if she doesn't work, then we're going to name somebody else at the convention. But that's not how democracy works. You have to just bear with us, because we have to make sure we save democracy when we're going against Trump. But how do you save democracy when you're basically destroying democracy? Shut up. Let us do what we need to do, and then we'll just make sure Trump doesn't, destroy democracy. You got it now? You straight with everything? You see how much of this stuff is falling apart for the Dems? You've stood up there and told everybody every single day, Trump's a danger to democracy. He's an existential threat. Not like we are, though. We're just going to go ahead and cancel out the elections, make sure all you 50 million people who voted for Joe Biden across the country in all the primaries, oops, sorry. How do you think that's going to go over? How do you think that's going to go over with tens of millions of people that you have said that Trump was like Adolf, and Trump is a fascist, and Trump is a danger to democracy? And then you're going to go over here and destroy democracy. If you are a Democrat, if you are a liberal, and you're okay with that, you are as two-faced as it comes. There is no possible way you can call this guy, call the orange man, the existential threat to democracy, while you go over here and tear it down in front of the world. Every country on earth is watching. Every country on earth understands what America stands for. And you've told the world for over a couple years that Donald Trump is going to be a dictator on day one, false. Who is going to go and do all this bad stuff, false. Who is a threat to democracy, but we're going to do it here, but don't pay any attention to this. It's like looking in a rearview mirror. Things are closer than they really are. Don't try this at home. We're going to destroy democracy for our benefit. Meanwhile, we're going to be pointing at this guy. Everybody's starting to see it now. This is a grift. You guys have raised money, a whole bunch of money, for the Biden-Harris campaign. Not the Harris-Buttigieg campaign. Not the Harris-Hillary campaign. People donated because the media and the politicians for the last couple years have said Joe's on the ball. He's got it. And now all of a sudden, because of a debate, one 90-minute window, if that's all it was, you're going to uproot democracy? Good luck with that. Absolutely good luck with that. So let's continue. Which cut is this?
New polls from the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, CBS, and CNN show former President Trump leading President Biden between 2 and 6 points. As voters express...
Now, these are national polls. See, I don't even know why they talk about national polls. That don't matter. That doesn't matter at all. There's basically 6 or 7 states that you have to look at, and those are the only polls that matter. And even then, you can go in and dig deeper because there's only certain neighborhoods. the black neighborhoods, because that's where it always happens.
Concern over Biden's cognitive state. Voters are also aware of his record, which includes
his record. And I put this in here because this is the stuff when he says his successes. I should be judged on my success. I'm going to let her tell you about his successes.
Inflation up better than 19%. Energy skyrocketing nearly 36%. Spending mainly due to $7 trillion in new spending and borrowing. His open border policy has meant more than 10 million migrants illegally entering America.
I guess Maria Bartiromo didn't get the memo that he should be judged on his successes. And based on that, that's how he's going to go down in history. Nobody told Maria Bartiromo what actually happened. But now, what we're seeing is, and somebody had put in the comments here, what's going to happen tomorrow. It's happening now. It's beginning to fracture. And right now, people are starting to figure out this isn't going to end well. The Democrats are basically going to have a mini civil war. Shannon Bream, who's probably the most mild host out there on any news network, including Fox, does her show on Sundays. Listen to what she says right here.
Before we get to our guests, I want you, the viewers at home, to know something. Our team has spent days reaching out to dozens of lawmakers and Biden advocates and allies. We've had numerous interactions with the Biden-Harris campaign. But not a single potential guest was either able or willing to join us on today's show to defend the president and his decision to stay on the ticket. So we will be having a conversation without that voice, which we have been working around the clock to avoid.
So she's trying to get guests on the show. Hey, listen, we understand you guys think that Joe's going to be fine, right? Right. Okay. Can you guys come on the air and let's talk about it? Let's put you on a panel. Nope, can't do it. What do you mean? I have to go mow the lawn. Oh. How about you? You want to come on? Oh, sorry. I got to get my toenails clipped. She went through a list of people that she went through. She didn't name all their names, but she said not a single person, not one, would come on her show and defend Joe Biden. Not one. Not Nancy, not Clyburn, not Hakeem Jeffries, not AOC. Baby girl didn't want to come on and defend. Not Bernie. Just keep going down the list. Not Swalwell. Nope. Not a single one was willing to go on television and defend Joe Biden. So people ask, what's getting ready to happen tomorrow? Well, today, Hakeem Jeffries held a phone call with basically most of the Democratic Party on Zoom, and he came out and said, we're going to have to talk about taking Joe out. So tomorrow, that's why I'm saying the fireworks might just take off.
This. One of the first questions she will have to answer is, what did you know about Joe Biden's condition? When did you know it? A lot of these stories come.
All right. So now they've moved into the phase of, it's going to be Kamala. Let's just call a spade a spade. It's going to be Kamala. But then before, you guys are thinking about this, you're going to bring Kamala in. Isn't Kamala the vice president? Don't she and Joe work closely side by side? Even though she's, off to the side, but she's the vice friggin' president. Doesn't that mean she would know over the last 3.5 years if this guy has lost a step? Of course she would.
Out say that, there's been some issues for about a year now, if not more. You're the one person in the government he can't fire. You mean to tell me you didn't see anything about it? She's going to have to answer that the first thing she says.
We have.
All right. So what's coming next is a litany, a thread that I'm sure almost any reporter, Republican can now look at and say, we've watched you over the last couple of years. Kamala, this is coming for you. This is going to be a Trump commercial. This is what they're going to say about you. You went on television over and over and over and said that this demented guy is completely fine. All right.
A very bold and vibrant president in Joe Biden.
But a majority of Americans, a majority of Democrats, according to our new poll, say they don't want President Biden to run again. What do you say to them?
I mean, George, I think that age is more than a chronological fact, to be very frank with you. It's about thinking about whether we have in our leader, which we do in Joe Biden, somebody who is bold. I mean, think about it. And in Joe Biden, we have a president who is probably one of the boldest and strongest American presidents we have had in his response to the needs of the American people. But he is an extraordinary leader, and I wish that people could see what I see, because there's only one person who sits behind that resolute desk.
You're 58 now. If you win the second term, as you and the president are running to do, he would be 86 at the end of it. The Wall Street Journal had a poll showing 2/3 of Democrats say Joe Biden is too old to run again. Are you prepared to be commander-in-chief?
Yes, I am, if necessary. But Joe Biden is going to be fine. And let me tell you something. I work with Joe Biden every day.
Bingo. How is she going to get away from this? I work with him every day. You're side by side with the strongest, boldest, most vigorous president ever. And you never saw anything?
The work that under Joe Biden's leadership our administration has accomplished is transformative.
Oh, it's transformative, all right. Nobody would deny you that. You have definitely transformed America. You can just say the newcomers alone have transformed America.
Two very prominent Washington Post articles today talking about President Biden's age, and that's a big concern among the young voters. And in growing poll numbers, that's a big concern. Are people right to be concerned about his age at this point?
Well, let me just say this. When I talk to these young voters, what they want is a leader who is in touch with the problems of today and has a vision for what we can do today and in the future to deal with it.
She didn't ask you that. She didn't ask you that question. What she said, can this dude do the job?
President Biden is the first president to take on in any substantial way the issue of the climate crisis. I'm not going to engage in that hypothetical because Joe Biden is very much alive and running for re-election.
He's very much alive and running for re-election, even though most of us can see that he's a veg.
First of all, I would say that age is more than a chronological fact. I spent a whole lot of time with our president.
She can't get away from it. Understand what she just said there. I see him every day. I spend a lot of time with the president. She has backed herself into a corner. She has backed the Democrats into a corner. Do you see this at this point? Obviously, this didn't happen last Thursday. There is no possible way that this happened last Thursday. So she has seen it happen over and over and over. We've all seen it. There's videos all over the place. Remember the cheap fakes? There's cheap fakes all over the place that she knows aren't cheap fakes. So, hey, Kamala, how can we trust you? How can any voter trust you to talk about what's good for America when you've been lying for years?
Be it in the Oval Office or the Situation Room and in other places. And I can tell you, as I just mentioned, not only is he absolutely authoritative in rooms around the globe, but in the Oval Office, meeting with members of Congress, meeting with leaders in industry, meeting with community leaders, I will tell you.
Those people in industry are backing out. They're pulling their money. So did everybody get it wrong? Did lightning strike him last Thursday? Because that's what you're saying. You're saying he's been absolutely fine when we know that's not true.
That he is in front of, often, everyone in the room in terms of thinking about how we can resolve issues, negotiate in a way that is about concession where necessary, but for the sake of accomplishment and actual work.
Let me ask you in a more complicated way. I think there's a lot.
Okay, yeah, he's going to ask her straight up.
A lot of people would say she can't say anything else. She couldn't tell if there was a problem.
I'm not lying.
Boom. Boom. I'm not lying. I'm not lying about Joe Biden's wherewithal. That is going to play on a loop. Trump is going to play that. She went on all these interviews and just kept talking glowingly about this guy's got his crap together. He's on it, man. He holds these meetings. I'm not lying. Okay, so then you're saying he got struck on that Thursday night debate. That was all that ever happened. She's going to have to do something at this point if they name her. And I think that's part of the consternation that the Democrats are under. They know she's a ditz. They already know that. But now you're a proven liar. Everybody knows you're a liar.
I'm telling you a fact.
But if there ever is a problem, do you think that you could go tell the American public? Do you think in your role that you're in a position to do that?
Why the pause? Your job as a vice president isn't to protect Joe Biden. Your job as a president isn't to protect the Democrat Party. Your job as a vice president or president is to protect America. And you paused. He gave you a very simple question. If you were to see this, you understand your position is to protect Americans. Would you tell us? You just did. You just did. You will lie to us. There should have been no pause. In fact, let me get here. Now she's going to say, of course.
Of course, if necessary,
if necessary. If you need to know, I'll let you know. But she had to think about that answer. She knew she was stuck at that point. Of course, if necessary.
There's no need for that. There is a political argument that is being made that is not based on substance. And you're asking me to hypothesize around what are my duties to the American people as vice president.
No, we already know what your duties are. That's the problem. You don't have to hypothesize. It's an instinct answer. If you knew that somebody was going to drop a bomb in New York, would you have to think about it? No, we'd act. Okay. If you knew that some gas was being put in the theater and you knew in advance, would you do something about it? Yeah. So if you know that this president's off his rocker, would you do something about it? Well, of course, if necessary. It's necessary.
States that are based on ethics and morals and the law, I will always follow those rules. But I am suggesting to you that it is important we not be seduced into one of the only arguments that side of the aisle has right now on this issue.
That's the only argument the Republicans have, is that Joe might be off his rocker, and now we know he is. And so now you've got all this film of you saying he's fine. It's a made-up thing by the Republicans. Really?
In a way that is intended to distract from the accomplishments.
You obviously can't change the president's age. So what is your plan to try and change this perception? How do you do that?
I'll tell you the reality of it is, and I spent a lot of time with President Biden.
I spend a lot of time with President Biden. Oh, just go ahead and put the dirt on the casket at this point. You are stuck, lady.
In the Oval Office, in the Situation Room, and other places, he is extraordinarily smart. He has the ability to see around the corner in terms of what might be the challenges we face as a nation or globally.
Why is Biden getting the bad rap and not Trump?
Of course, Joy Behar is going to want to deflect. Hey, look, we should talk about Trump being demented. Because, he's the guy who gets up on a rally and talks for 2 hours, and he doesn't have to, fly out or have, excuse me. We watched one rally where his teleprompter went down, and he had to riff it. He had to basically go ad lib for 2 hours. Biden can't do that, so that's why we're not talking about him. Joy?
Get it.
Well, first of all, let me just address the issue directly, because I spend a lot of time with our president, be it in the Oval Office, the Situation Room, you name it. We have a president in Joe Biden who is forward-thinking in a way that we've not seen in a long time. I want to get to the heart of what I think you're raising, which you've said is his age. So let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it.
I spend a lot of time with Joe Biden.
Yeah, you do.
Be it in the Oval Office or the Situation Room. And I can tell you, this is someone who is tireless in terms of working on behalf of the American people.
Stop. Tireless, right? Kamala, we've got this interview where you said that Joe is tireless on working on behalf of the American people. That just doesn't seem to jive what we've been hearing, that the dude goes to bed at like 4 o'clock for a nap, and he only works from 10 to 4 anyway. And then he needs nap time during the day. So that's not tireless. That's not at all tireless. Or a bigger question is, hey, Kamala, after 4 o'clock, who's running the show? Well, Joe's taking nappy time. Who's running things? She can't stand up to this in a debate. There's no possible way.
To your point of knowing Joe Biden, he comes from a background and a place in his heart and soul where he cares so deeply about working people, about families.
Do you remember what she said to Joe Biden during the debates when she was running for president? That's going to come back and bite her in the butt, too.
So the way that the president's demeanor in that report was carried...
Okay, she's talking about the Robert Hur report now. So the Robert Hur report, those of you who may not know, was the special prosecutor who was going after Joe Biden and investigating him. He came out and said, I can't charge this guy because he's got so bad dementia, I can't put him on trial. I can't prosecute this guy. And so now this is something she actually saw in writing. She actually saw the guy's report in writing. And listen what she says about it.
Characterized could not be more wrong on the facts and clearly politically motivated.
What do you say to those concerns, specifically if he had to pass the powers to you for 1 second, 1 minute, heaven forbid, and I ask with all due respect, but, are you capable, are you ready to step into the role and do whatever the country would need?
Absolutely ready. But thank God our president is in good shape, in good health, and is ready to lead in our second term.
We also asked about Republican criticism of her readiness for the job.
Listen, as it relates to me, I'm ready if necessary, but it's not going to be necessary.
That's awful. That's absolutely awful. That's devastating. I mean, there's no way she can come back from that. No way she can hide from that. No way that anyone on the left can even begin to approximate the level of damage that is on video of her talking. So it's very simple. When like that guy in the previous video said, at this point, the only question for Kamala is, how long have you known about this and kept it from the American people? How long did you go along with things? It's almost impeachable that you did that. Don't, you know they're going to come guns blazing for her. You have said many times on television, different reports, that you're basically elbow to elbow with him. He's just so great. The Robert Hur report was politically motivated. He's fine. And now you're about to be put in his place because of him not being fine, and you're going to try and tell the American people it only happened last Thursday, when anyone with eyes and ears can see it's been happening for a long time. There's a reason why those reporters were asking you those questions, is because they have seen it. We have all seen it. And you're saying right now that you're about to be the next president for a few months, possibly, maybe as soon as next Friday. Think about that. That woman could be president of the United States by Friday. If that doesn't scare the hell out of you, nothing will. The point of my entire video is tonight is to let you know what may happen over the next couple days, starting tomorrow, is that it may end with Kamala Harris being president by the end of this week. God help us. That woman could be president. A DEI hire who couldn't get enough votes to make 1% difference in her own party, who's a cackling mess, may be Madam President by Friday. Our enemies, if they're feeling adverse, would be licking their chops. You think Dementia Joe is problematic? She's no different. She's basically the same horse, different ranch. She's not going to change any of the policies that he put in place. She's not going to change a single thing. And whoever the deep state people are that are running Joe are going to run her. Nothing will change, except for the fact of, just like we knew Dementia Joe was a liar, you now know she's an absolute liar with a straight face. And we all know it at this point. A hyena for president. Madam Hyena, you guys are funny. Somebody else said something down here, said Kamala, did I find this? Yeah, Kamala is not black. They appropriate anybody, you know, that you've heard the thing probably, one drop of coffee, I mean, whatever it is, how it is, if you have one speck of coffee in the milk, you're black. She's got an Indian mother and a Jamaican father, and somehow they have construed that to be a personal color, i.e. black. That's what it is. It's gonna be, somebody wrote, it's going so fast in here. Kamala will have a whirlwind when Jill's gonna have a problem with that. Yeah. Can I ask a question? What happens if both of them step down? Nuclear Armageddon. Oh my God. Well, if they both step down, the number 3 person right now is the Speaker of the House. So the Democrats will never do that. She won't step down because that would put Mike Johnson as the president. There's a couple different layers to this that are problematic. If Joe steps down, she becomes the president. She becomes the president, she's going to nominate a vice president. I've heard Pete Buttigieg is going to be her vice president. Problem with that is you can't appoint a vice president. The vice president has to be approved. So now it's going to have to go through Congress to get whoever her vice president approved. It's just not snapping fingers, that's my guy, let's go. Nope, it can't happen that way. You have to go through Congress. So they have said for so many years that there's a constitutional crisis, and now there actually is one. There is one on our horizon that should terrify you. Somebody wrote in the what do you call it? The comments that I need an intervention. I don't need an intervention. I know what's coming. I want to make sure you guys understand what's coming and that you're prepared for it. I.e., get some money out of the bank. Do something. Buy some gold. It's to a point right now where the markets are going to freak out. It won't be pretty. I can't even imagine that this country may not have a solid presidential base by the end of this week. I don't think we've experienced anything like this since probably Kennedy, maybe Nixon, when the president had to just basically leave and then power was transferred to the vice president. Man, it's scary times, and we're in a different times than we are now. So let me play this next clip.
Had among the people that would step up if Biden stepped aside.
Yeah, Kamala Harris is the clear front runner, and it's not clear who, if anybody, would actually challenge her for the nomination. But the thing is that she, we talked about credibility. She's going to have to, first of all, answer the fact that she's been one of the main public validators of his health. You remember after the Her report, she went out there and said he is with it, he is committed commanding everything in the room, she's going to have to sit down and answer tough questions. I mean, we talked about Joe Biden hasn't really been out there with reporters. Kamala Harris, besides that initial CNN and MSNBC interview right after the debate, she hasn't really been out there answering questions. And they're going to be, if Joe Biden drops out, the first week that she is out there is going to be critical. Because if there's any signs of chinks in the armor.
Oh, there's already signs of the chinks in the armor. What do you mean, no? If there's any signs, they're already there. If Joe drops out, and everybody has said the same thing, if he drops out of the race, you got to resign from the presidency. If you're too incompetent to go forward with the campaign, then you're too incompetent to be president. So you're going to have to resign completely. Go bye-bye, head to Rehoboth Beach in Delaware, and live out the rest of your days. That's it. You're done. Then there's not much anybody can do. Excuse me. Not much anybody can do about Kamala ascending to the presidency. That's in our Constitution. This dude can't make it. You got to bring her in. So he's absolutely right in that regard.
There are many, as you just said, there are many people in the wings that are ready to pounce.
Many people in the wings who are ready to pounce. They absolutely are. I mean, it's a scary situation, and I don't want to over amplify that, but it's very, very scary. How scary is it? Well, Biden's out there doing speeches, little speeches, going to churches. This was something he said today. You're not going to believe this.
There are many, as you just said, there are many people in the wings that are ready to pounce.
Thank you. Folks, with your permission, I'm going to find out whether you have any ice cream. Isn't it really dull when you have a president who's known for two things, Ray-Ban sunglasses and chocolate chip ice cream?
He said that. I want to find out where the ice cream is. And you have a president who's known for his sunglasses and his ice cream. That is Dementia Joe. But, just to let you know, after that, some things happened. So, I'm going to try and get through this stuff pretty quickly because you guys have been so good to be here all this time. Let me see, I may skip ahead here. So, not sure if you guys saw this, but his doctor, Dr. Boom Bots, okay, look at this. Breaking news. This is from Representative James Comer. I'm calling on President Joe Biden's physician, Dr. Kevin O'Connor, to appear for a GOP oversight transcribed interview regarding his medical assessments of Joe Biden and his involvement in the Biden family business schemes. Dr. O'Connor's medical assessments have potentially been influenced by his business pursuits with the Biden family. The hits just keep coming. I don't know if you guys heard this today, but supposedly this guy has been getting $200,000 plus going through his office. Here it is right here. James Comer reveals President Biden's physician, his doctor. You tell me if you have this kind of relationship with your doctor, was involved in Biden's business dealings that resulted in $200,000 landing in Joe Biden's bank account. I don't know about you, but usually my transactions with my doctor are one way. I'm paying him. He's not paying me. Did his involvement impact his medical assessments of the president? We are calling on him to testify and provide docs. And here is the actual letter where they've sent it to the physician of Joe Biden, where he's going to have to go to Congress, being subpoenaed to come in and talk about his business dealings with Joe Biden. How did he come to pay Biden $200,000? That's why I'm telling you, this isn't about Biden's mental acuity. What this is about, in my opinion, is this shit's all coming out. It's just coming out fast and furious at this point. Next tweet. Dr. Kennard is a neurologist who specializes in Parkinson's research. These are White House visitor logs showing his visits since last year. Speak now or forever hold your peace, Joe Biden. So now they have found out, I don't know how this stuff is coming out, that this guy, in addition to his other doctor, he's been seeing a Parkinson's disease specialist for a year at the White House. A Parkinson's specialist. It can't get any worse here. And, well, actually it can. And this is how. Crackhead Hunter Biden is now Joe Biden's de facto gatekeeper per Axios. Dr. Joe Biden is refusing calls for her husband to drop out of the race. Honest question. Short of the 25th Amendment, do the Democrats have anything they can do if Joe refuses to drop out? And in the article here, we're now in charted historic waters. President Biden, backed by First Lady Joe Biden and his convicted son Hunter, who's serving as de facto gatekeeper to his dad, says that nothing besides an act of God will persuade him to quit his re-election campaign. Wow. But outside Biden's protective bubble, a fast-growing number of Democrats are praying for and plotting a more earthly intervention. They want everyone from the Obamas to congressional leaders to beg Biden to drop out by this Friday. Hence, what I said to you, Kamala could be president by Friday. Why it matters. Biden and his Democratic critics share one common passion, the intensity, certainty, and irreversibility of their positions. Both plan fierce public and private campaigns to see who buckles. And Biden says it won't be him. And he said that on a call yesterday. That's why I'm telling you, you buy the popcorn, get ready, get some Diet Coke, sit by the Lazy Boy recliner, and just watch what happens this week. It's going to be absolutely epic. I mean, it's going to get nuts. All this stuff is at this point dropping out there. And, you know, this guy says it's getting almost surreal now. A senior White House official, though unnamed, is telling the New York Times Biden should step aside. So the rats are jumping, the rats are talking, the rats are going to the media. They're telling everybody, hey man, this guy's whacked, he needs to go. I'm just telling you, got radio hosts getting fired. All kinds of stuff is breaking loose. I bet you since I've been talking to you guys for 2 hours plus, that even more news has come out. It's coming out that fast. Parkinson's doctor, $200,000 from your attorney, from your doctor. It's crazy what's going on. And now the Congress is going to subpoena the doctor and make him come in, make him talk to Congress as to what's going on with these business dealings. This is getting absolutely crazy. Absolutely nuts. I've never seen anything like it. And the biggest thing is, if he won't go, there's nothing they can do. They can't make him leave. Unless they want to do the 25th Amendment. Good luck with that. That would stain your entire party. It would probably run through the time that you were supposed to have your convention. I forget when they're supposed to have their convention, but it's not that far away. And so you're going to be having this 25th Amendment procedure during the time that would have been your convention. I don't see it happen. Is Joe going to back down? Maybe this week he's figuring out what kind of parachute he needs. What kind of deal are they going to cut? Can you imagine right now the size of the pardon list that Biden would execute before he would leave? You know his Hunter's probably going to be on it. You know probably a bunch of those shady Democrats are going to be on it, because now they're so worried about what Trump's going to do, what kind of retribution he's going to do. They know he's going to do retribution because they've been breaking the law. They want him to basically ignore the law at this point. I know, yeah, we did this, yeah, we did that, but don't come back after us. We understand we've basically tried to bankrupt you and everybody you know. We understand that Steve Bannon's in jail. We understand that Peter Navarro's been in jail. We understand that, what was the other guy's name? Paul, whatever his name was, he was in jail. We know we destroyed General Flynn. We know we destroyed Rudy Giuliani, but don't come after us. We're the good guys. We're sorry. Don't exact any revenge. Eat it. It's coming. There's nothing you're going to do about it. It's not revenge. If you're caught breaking the law and there's evidence of it, which now you can see what kind of people these guys really are. You tried to get all these people to flip on Donald Trump for years. Flip, do something. Paul Manafort was the name I was thinking of. You tried to get all these people to flip on Trump, and it didn't work. The only person you got was Stormy and Michael Cohen. How many of these limp-wristed Democrats you think are going to flip on you guys? You know they're going to be cutting deals all over the place to save their butts. They have to. That's why they're leaking now. That's why it's all coming out. This doctor, this doctor who they're about to basically put through the mill here, who is moving hundreds of thousands of dollars around, you think he's going to risk his medical practice over Dementia Joe? You got another thing coming. It's all coming out. It's all going to get spilled. At this point, it's cover your own ass. You tried to, well, you did. You got this woman fired off of a radio station for something she said. You've been putting grandmas in jail. You've been doing everything to cover for what you've been doing. And now it's all falling apart, and you're worried about your people getting arrested and locked up. Good luck with that. It's if you did something wrong, you need to go to jail. We're not going to look the other way. I hope, when Trump gets in, that he does do that. And like I said, the only way at this point that these people can beat Trump is if they cheat their asses off. The only way. It's one singular way. There's no way a party in this much disarray can recover before November and get the faith of the American people. It can't be done. I know there's some Democrats out there like, well, I'll vote for Joe if he's in a coma. Okay, we know who you are. You're an absolute moron. Joy Reid, I hope you understand you're one of those. And now you're going to start trying to convince people Trump is so bad, you should vote for Kamala or Joe no matter what. Most people want to vote in their personal best interest. They're not cultists. They understand they want cheaper gas. They don't want to see newcomers invading the country. They don't want to see boys playing girls' sports. They want cheaper gas. They want cheaper groceries. They want better interest rates for their mortgage and their rent. You're not delivering any of that. Everything you talk about is Orange Man bad. That's it. Orange Man bad. So you got to vote for our guys. That's a hard sell. Military health care. Lawanda says cheating is their style. Where'd they go? That went by so fast. Somebody said they know Trump is coming. It's that's a great comment right there. They know it. You know it. The world knows it. They can't stop what is coming. We have said that. Many of us has been a slogan, no one can stop what is coming. Well, yes, they can. If they cheat, they can stop what's coming. Other than that, we're looking at a landslide. We're looking at an epic landslide, maybe Reagan-esque landslide. I mean, it's going to be incredible. And people have said, well, Trump's been quiet lately. There's something wrong with Trump. He's not talking. No, just sit back and let the train wreck happen. Don't interfere with people as they're doing all this stuff. He's got 2 big rallies coming up. He's got on Tuesday, he's going to be down here in Miami, and then I think it's next Saturday, he's going to be outside of Pittsburgh, I believe. I'm sure he's going to have a lot to say, especially if what may transpire this week actually happens. Be ready. I may have to go live tomorrow. I won't go for 2.5 hours like I just did right now. James Smith, you asked me, was I going to have a show? I hope I informed you guys. I hope I gave you a bunch of information. Hope I gave you some stuff that maybe you can go research on your own. But the dam is breaking, and I'm not sure they can fix this. And they're going to try it to bring Kamala in. Who knows what these people do. But be prepared for what's going to happen this week. And I'm telling you also, the markets, I'm not sure how they're going to react, so be careful with your money too. Who knows what's going to happen? And who knows what they will do to try and stave off Trump. It's crazy. Talk to you guys tomorrow maybe. Thanks for showing